Hello, welcome to BSLIVE. Today I will be doing a bit of remix and improvisations. Basically, I'm using these 3D assets from PolyCam. So every now and then you get people sharing 3D assets online. And this is like using PolyCam and PolyCam Cloud. But it's also shared on Sketchfab in this case. And sometimes you're allowed to do downloading, and you can download it as USDZ or GLTF or OBJ. Whichever you like. You can then bring it to Blender. In this case, I want to animate this hammerman. Okay, so I already downloaded the assets, and I don't think without Blender, I don't think you can do this quite easily. Maybe in the future using app, but as you can see, we have this model, right? This is scanned on the iPhone using PolyCam app. And you can see the mesh and everything. You can see the texture if you turn on the texture from here, or you can also choose different viewport shading. And if you want to check the texture, you can look at it from the image editor. So I'm explaining this just like for beginner Blender user. This is the texture. It could have better UV, but this is what scan usually like. So I want to do a bit of cleanup. Save as. Always save your Blender file before you start anything. And this guy is usually from Sketchfab. It's always have this kind of hierarchy with empty and the objects, etc. Actually, good idea is to just select all the mesh, shift click, and then command J, so join all the mesh into one. I want to unparent this from the empty, right click. I want everything clean, clear parent, and keep transformations, that's okay. So delete everything. Now we have just hammerman, just rename it. This guy is not correct in terms of orientations, so a good idea is also to center the objects. You can use quad view. So I just toggle quad view. This is the perspective. This is from the top view. Just try to align this nicely. This is from the front view, so the characters should be looking from the front view. And once we clean this up with orientations, we can maybe paint this character or animate it. In this case, I want to do a bit of animations. Okay, this is front view, right view. So once I'm happy, object view areas, toggle quad view, Control A, apply the transformation. So I am zeroing out the rotation, etc. I want to switch rotation to Euler. So now we have just this character. I can clean up the ground, but I don't need to do that. Just go to edit mode, and this is also I want to normally scan objects need to be cleaned up. Right click and merge vertices by distance. So I want everything clean because I want to turn this into AR and I want to animate this character. There's this extra leftover. You can use lasso tool, select lasso, selection like that. Normally it doesn't select the back area unless you turn on X-ray. So let's do that. Cool. Okay, cool. I think this is pretty clean actually. You can further clean up. You can see the mesh is actually quite dense. You can reduce the mesh, actually use decimate, so it's lighter for you to animate. Let's save this just in case. I'm gonna decimate it just for, gonna make this a little bit low poly. With decimate, it actually keeps the UV kind of nice. So we have less, we have 10% only from the original scan. These objects have the ground, which I don't really like. I'm just gonna delete the ground floor. Just keep the hammer man. So I'm just gonna select and delete. And actually I want to cover the bottom part. So I just tap F. It's covering the bottom part. Okay. It's not the cleanest, but it's okay. I can live with this. I want to animate this character. So if you want to animate the character, you probably want to use armature. Okay. Don't be afraid. Shift A, just create armature. And you have this bone. I want to turn on X-ray. And also, before I do that, I want to have this bone always on the front. Turn on bone on the front. So now we have this. Now I want to, I want to use this bone. This is like the root. The way I work, I think I always make it like this. In Blender, I think it's better to do it this way. So this is the root of the character. I want to snap it into the volume. So turn on snapping and turn on volume. Now we can just play this game of snapping. Extrude and snap. So I'm just gonna keep this really simple. Gonna extrude it, tap E, snap it to the neck. Just gonna do it this way. I think that's alright. Just make sure the neck is straight. Select this part. Just extruding and snapping. It's very easy. Just snap it out. Okay. Extrude, extrude, snapping. It's snapping to the volume, so it's really easy. It's for the hammer. I should have. Yeah, that's okay. We want perhaps to just do it for the leg as well. The character is already in pose, so if the character is in T pose or A pose, you can animate and pose the character. But in this case, it's already in this pose. He's about to hammer something. Okay, now we are done. You can see, yeah, I think this is okay. The next step may be renaming the bones, but I'm not gonna do that. Just gonna save this as new version. I save a lot every time I want to do something important. So now we have this mesh and we have this armature already in pose. Command P, automatic weight. Hopefully this works. Yeah, right. Now you can see, you can start animating this character. This bone is a bit thick. Maybe just turn it into wire. Or actually, turn it into stick. I didn't set up the IK handle, etc. Maybe I should. Anyway, I will animate a little bit this character. You know what? It should move a little bit. If we just animate it using the auto IK, what's gonna happen? Yeah, you know, it's okay. This is not too bad. Kind of motion. It's moving every part. Select everything. Tap I. location, rotation, and scale. So I have keyframe. Now I'm just gonna maybe animate him a little bit to the right, keyframe everything, move it to the left, keyframe everything. Now maybe he looks down. So animating it's as fun as playing with a puppet or dolls, or playing with robots, you know. Okay, apparently this character have the arm looking like that, so we can't really animate this unless we do a bit of fixing there. Oh well, it's okay. It's okay. Just ignore that sticky part. Oh. So of course, here I have all this keyframe at the same spacing, which is we're gonna have animation that's a bit funny because everything is linear. But if you want to animate properly, then we have to space this. We have to time this a little bit better. He lifted up. Just gonna copy this. Maybe it should be even higher. Adjust the timing and adjust the spacing. See, everything is moving at the same time, but in order to make this more believable, maybe he looks down first, and then pose the head, kind of like a moving pose, and then he keep the head. Yeah, something like that, you know. It's not the best animations, but at least you can see we are already like remixing this sculpture, and we are animating it, and we can export this out as animations for AR. If you feel like painting, you can do it using texture painting. Blender texture paint brush is quite limited. However, it's still it's a good tool. I'm just gonna draw something. So it's been remixed. This is my logo, and you can save it up. Always save if you want to save the picture image. This is the one that's been modified. It has asterisks. You can save. I'm just gonna leave it. This is maybe I should save it. Sorry. It's the scan and this one. Save. It's gonna save it into the file. File, export, GLB. This character might be pretty big. Always save it as GLB. That's the simplest format that you can use with Reality Converter app and Reality Composer app on your iPhone or iPad. You can share the animations with your friend. So this is like kind of like a remix. Like I always say, if you let's say you always let's say you want to do a scan but you don't have iPhone or iPad, you can I should post the animation at the end. You can always ask your friend or ask other person to scan it for you. In the future, I think that's how it's gonna work. So this is the animation. This is ready to send into the iPhone. Oh, yeah. I should make it so it goes back to the original pose. So he stopped here. Maybe he pose, and he goes back to the original. Pose. Good. Settle. Oh, see, you can even make sound. Save again. Export again as GLB. This thing will update itself. Reloading. So this is better. The animation is now looping. Okay. Alright, so that's how you remix an animations. So from something that's coming on the something that posted on the Twitter by PolyCam actually and then shared online, you can create these animations using Blender, which is open source 3D. It's pretty simple to do. You can do it with other 3D assets that's posted on Sketchfab. Just search for anything that's downloadable, and then you can just download the assets. So thanks Chris to share this Hammerman assets. I really like this kind of sculpture. Yeah, so everyone can remix it and animate it. Alright, so thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.